Let's do it.
You
Hey, and
got it, my
welcome
friend.
back to another exciting episode of Extra Features Podcast. I have a fabulous guest whose film Who's Chico? Director here, John Salanoa. Welcome.
Aloha. How are you? Thank you for having me, my brother. So
You're
excited.
welcome. Thank you for coming on. You live in Hawaii. It must be something
Nice,
better
isn't
to
it?
do than hang out with me.
Oh, we've had the best week ever. We had a tsunami warning come through here. We all thought we were going to be
Oh,
underwater on Tuesday.
oh, great.
Yeah. Yeah,
People
we've
don't know
got
that about
two
Hawaii. They think just
yeah,
beautiful
we have two
beaches.
hurricanes just south of us right now. So yeah, we have a lot of adventure going on here.
And your film has nothing to do with that.
No, no, no. A different type of storm.
So let's start. You have a newscast at the beginning of the film, like a little announcer saying blah blah blah. We're looking for somebody, which is fine. I don't really want to go there. I want to go the next shot with the guy floating on the pool and you underwater. So how does that work? How do you set that up?
Yeah, so the premise of the show is actually based off of the real life of the writer. His name is Henry Park. He just passed away this past June, and he really wanted to get this project up and written before that happened, and we're glad to have done it for him. But yeah, so the premise of the whole water shot is um, the mystery of us and who we are, and like we're very much water oriented people, but we have a criminal element here that's always been here since the beginning of time. So what he had done is that he took a few different events that had happened during his time in his activity in these criminal organizations, and he meshed them all into one really quick short to show some events that had happened through his experience. And one of those was a person that was in this particular crew was caught stealing, and hence the very beginning of the movie, we see what happens if you are caught stealing from Maka, this particular crime boss here.
Okay, I'm going to go back to my question. Great, set me up, but I want to know how you shot the opening scene. Were you in the pool?
Oh, oh yeah. So in the pool, yeah. So we had Brian Green, a world renowned underwater photographer, who had brought his rebreather, so his apparatus that had no oxygen bubbles, and he was down there with this big, massive cinematographic camera, and so he was with a rebreather, and he was down there, and we kept him underwater for all those underwater shots for about 2.5, 3 hours, and we were able
Wow.
to stream his feed back up to us so we could see what we were getting in real time.
With no issues, perfectly clear, like that. Like that, this
Yeah.
film is clear. Like it looks like you're in the water.
Oh yeah, thanks. That rebreather, I tell you, man, that thing is magical. No, there's no disturbance in the water because as he was breathing underwater in his tanks, there's no exhaust of any kind, so it just goes back into the system. So when he was there, and he had the big cinematographic camera, and he was underwater, it was almost like he anchored there and just had the best time, just at the bottom of the pool, just moving the camera around as people fell, and he had a real good time. And yeah, we had him down there for about 2.5 hours. He was down there.
Okay,
We
I'm
had a
going to
few
walk
breaks,
through a
but
bit. We have
yeah,
the original person in the pool. I don't think I'm ruining anything. And then we have some bonus people that show up later doing the same similar position. And he is there the whole shoot.
yeah, for all the water shots. Yeah, yeah. So we stacked them up. We shot a day of just doing stunts in the water, and in that
Okay,
day, yeah, he was in the water at 8:30 in the morning, and we didn't pull him out of there till right about 10:30, 11 a.m.
okay. So we have a day of shooting of just water then. So all the water is one day of shooting.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
all the stuff on the patio, I guess, is day two.
Yeah, that took us 3.5 days to shoot. And so, all the medium shots and close-ups, those coverage were done one day. We tried to get them all done one day. And day two, we did, the establishing shots and the pulled back shots, and a lot of movement, the stunt work we did on day two. And then day three, we did half a day of water work, which was, we had Brian Green in the water, and he was there for half the day. And then we were able to see what he was filming real time. So we knew that we only had him for a short period of time. So anything that we had to do as far as retakes and we had to do some other things, we saw it there. We ended up putting him back in the water again, like about 2 o'clock that afternoon. And we did a couple pickups and then a few retakes, and he was done and gone. So, and that was the most fun, playing inside that water, just constantly splashing in the water. Was a good
So I
time.
have to, where did you find him? Do you know him personally or did you hire
Yeah, so
him?
here in Hawaii, yeah, we're a close knit family, right? And he shoots for all a lot of stuff for National Geographic's underwater. He does a lot of stuff for these people for the Bishop Museum for their stuff that they do here. It's a large museum here, and he shoots all of their stuff. So here, we're such a tight knit community that's involved in entertainment and filming that we kind of all know each other. And it was because of one of our producers' personal relationship, we were able to get him. And it was a huge undertaking just to schedule. We had to actually reschedule our shoot around him because he was traveling in Australia for National Geographic for like a month, and then he got pulled to Madagascar to go shoot underwater there. And so we had to delay like a month just so we can get him. Because it's much better doing the way we did it instead of doing it with a GoPro or trying to get someone down to hold their breath for a little bit. Okay, hold your breath. Or, with these little cameras. If we were going to do this, we wanted to go, and make those underwater shots, as pristine and crisp as you saw. Uh, and we were able to do it with him.
Okay, so in rejigging your shooting, did that screw you up for festivals and things, or you didn't worry about that?
Yeah, well, festivals, they cycle through, and once your film's produced and it's ready to go, you're allowed 2 years to cycle it through
Okay.
the film festival circuit. And so we did have a date we were trying to hit. We wanted to try to get into Tribeca. We wanted to hit their date, and we knew that with the pushback being a month later than what it was, that we were, really on the edge of trying to get this thing finished and sent over. We did not make that cut line. So, we have next year. So we have next year, and then hopefully next year we'll be able to get in there. But yeah, that was really what we were trying to do, get it launched for Tribeca. And so we picked up, halfway through the film festival season for 2025. And then we were going to apply for the beginning of 2026 film festivals and see how far we go. But we did have an impact we wanted to get into Tribeca, but we just couldn't make the deadline.
Okay, who did the tattoo on the front of the man's chest?
Yeah, that's just a stencil and stencil and dye. Yeah, it was we went to the art store and got some stencil and did them up.
How long did that actor have to stay in the pool?
So Brian, he's the actor who played Chico. And as far as the face down stuff, we had a safety crew there. We had a water crew there. And anything that he's face down, I mean, it literally took us 15 minutes to shoot. He took a few breaths, he held, and we shot around some different angles. And as far as all that type of shooting, we didn't have anyone having their self submerged too much. But he does spend, the majority, if not the whole movie, when you see him, in the pool.
I'd
So
say the whole film he's in the
the
pool.
whole, except for when
Okay,
we're hanging him upside down for a minute. Yeah, he's in the pool.
that's true. Not too long though. Lots of color in the film, I would say. With this planned, we have a green robe, a yellow floaty, a pink swimsuit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So when I read the script, when it was given to me, it's kind of a dark script that's based off of things that had happened in the past. And, I kind of felt it had a little bit of a dark humor to it, a dark comedy to it. And so we had to lighten it up in certain ways. And so how you lighten things up is color friendly. Absolutely. So we did strategically place some color palettes in there. Each one of the actors had a color palette that they adhered to. So yeah, that was it's trying to loosen it up, and then we wanted to have a flavor of old noir type filming. So it's modern days, but we threw that flair in with the way that some of the characters are dressed into, like you would think, man, was this like from the 1980s? Could this have been the 1990s, 1970s even? So, we're kind of playing with that with the color schemes.
Okay, if we're gonna place it, it feels like Miami Vice to me. It definitely feels like a scene out of Miami Vice. So I'm going
Yeah,
80s.
yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. So the time when this character, his real name, it was Charlie Stevens, is who this is based off. The character I play, Maka. It's based off of a real person, Charlie Stevens, and he ran an organization out here called the Company, and it's the largest mafia outlet that we've had, forever. And as a matter of fact, Dwayne Johnson is he just cut up and is doing his version of the company, but he's doing with the gentleman who actually started the company, a gentleman by the name of Nappy. The character that I portray here as Maka, Charlie, he was the one who took over when Nappy was incarcerated. So the character that I play, Charlie Stevens, he ran the company for 15 or 12 years, and he was known for being a brutal type person. Yeah.
So how do you feel as a director and actor at the same time? I mean, I know what you want, but do you find you're getting what you want, or do you wish you didn't have to act?
Yeah, I mean, I was hired on as the actor originally.
Oh,
Yeah, so I was originally hired as the actor, and they had a director who was also a pretty well-known person, but he was stuck on another project in Argentina, and he was delayed. And the producers and the writers knew that they had a timeline they wanted to hit, and they just had happened to see some of my directorial stuff that I had done, some other shorts directed. And it was when the original director had bowed out that they had said, "Hey, we've seen your work as far as directing. This is a SAG-AFTRA, so were you okay doing a SAG-AFTRA film?" And I says, "Oh yeah, of course, I'm in." So it was I was hired as an actor first, director second. But when I was in front of the camera, it's hard at first to relinquish your vision, right? Because now you're
well,
portraying your vision when you're in front of the
that's what I
camera,
want to know. Now you know where I'm going.
and you have your vision behind it. And I would say the only reason that my vision was still holding true for the first half of this movie that I was actually in was that I had full confidence in understanding that my first AD knew exactly what I was looking for. When we had talked, because I knew I'd be in front of the camera for quite some time in this flick, so we had talked, endless amount of times during pre-production on the vision, how I see it, and referencing, the type of other movies and directorials that we've seen and how I like the flow of that in adding these depths and elements. And he really understood. And when I did my first take, not looking through the glass, but in front of the glass, I was pretty apprehensive. I hope he's getting this right because I was looking at the camera position. I go, that's not exactly what I was thinking.
Ah,
And then I'm seeing the camera movement. That's not exactly what I was had in my mind. And so when we finished my first take and I rolled back to look on the replay, yeah, he nailed it. He knew exactly what my mindset was. Because it's really funny when you're in front of the camera and you see the movement, it paints a different picture than when you're behind the glass and you're looking at the monitor and the picture that it paints there. It's totally different. So I learned very quick on that first shot. Yeah, he's got it. Matt's got it, and he's going to run with it. And it was the only reason I was able to do what I did is because I had full confidence that my first AD knew exactly what my vision was.
yeah, this maybe. Did you cast the movie or did you have a casting director?
Yeah, so we had a casting director. Aubrey Lee Glover was our casting director. She's a casting agent out of Hawaii, and she did the casting for us.
Okay, I just want to talk about the very large man.
Yeah, Milo.
He is quite the big man. I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to tell. He looks like he works out a lot.
Yeah, Milo's a big, big, proud Samoan Polynesian man. Yeah, he's
Well,
a
he
big
looks like
Samoan
one.
man. He stands. Yeah, he stands. What is he? 6'3". I'm 6 foot, and he stands 6'3".
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, Jason Momoa's brand new Chief of War, he is in that. And he stands next to Jason, and they're pretty close in size. And Jason's 6'5", I think, 6'4". So yeah, he's up there, like 6'3", 6'4". Milo, he's a big
So
man.
how
Teddy
is
bear. You
getting
would never know
in?
it. Guy's such a teddy bear.
how was it feeling getting into a tussle with him?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't know his own strength. There's a scene there where he comes and wraps his arms around me and takes me out from behind. And he couldn't stop. The first three takes, he was actually choking me. My larynx was collapsing. He was around me, and we had to tap out a few times. I was telling the stunt coordinator, "Hey, you got to teach Milo here how not to really kill me in real life. That we're just playing that he's going to kill me." So it was very hard because the man is so massive. And we were talking to him. He says, "You know what? When I have you wrapped, I don't really feel you, so I don't know how much I'm squeezing because I don't feel your actual neck, so I'm just doing what I'm doing." And yeah, on the third take, I almost passed out because of him, and we had to sit down and talk. Says, "You're a big guy. You got to come back just a little bit off that."
Yeah, he's a huge man.
He's a
The
big man.
the kick to the balls, was that practice or is that just a one take?
No, yeah, it was. Yeah, the kick was the part of the comedic structure, and yeah, I had to kick Steven, that actor there, Steven Falatea. I had to kick him, I think 7 or 8 different times. So we padded him up really good.
I know, but
Yeah.
still, you're thinking, going, that's gotta hurt a bit.
Yeah, there was one time he said that there might have been some damage done there on one take, and I did. He's actually my nephew, so I didn't really apologize
Oh,
too
there you go.
dramatically.
You don't need to then. Was the pool always going to be the focus of the short?
Yeah, the pool was the main backdrop and the main character. And the reason being is because Charlie Stevens, he was that guy who was everything that he ever did revolved around the pool. It was always a pool setting, whether it was, you know, you know, being, the brute that he was and doing the things he did or having his parties and having everything. It was always around his pool. He was so proud of his pool. And he also deemed that he was like the best amateur boxer in the world. And hence the opening scene, you see the character Maka is punching the heavy
The
bag.
bag.
And yeah, and that's paying homage to the real life character. He really did think that he was a golden glove type boxer.
Okay. Sorry. Forgot one thing. Location of the house. Did you find the house or would somebody else do that for you?
No, the producers found that. Yeah, they scouted 2 locations, and we were able to get this one location over in Enchanted Lake in Kailua. So we filmed that actually in Kailua on the east side of Oahu. And we were able to find this house with the pool that was right off the lake. And we were able to secure it. The great thing about it is that we thought we were going to have to leave that location when we had to delay shooting. Permits in Hawaii, like other states, is they're hard to get. And so when we shot that, we thought we were going to lose that house. That would have been a big disappointment if we did. But we were able to work with the owners of the house, and we were able to push back that shooting and lock that house down for a week. A month after we had said we would. So we were blessed to have the people there and the people who scouted it for us. They did a really good job. It was a good layout for what we were doing. For a single location shoot, it was exactly what we wanted.
Okay, the one thing people watching this film may not know, you're not an actor, you're a director, you're also the music coordinator, and you did all the music. So let's get into that. Where did that come from? What's your musical background?
That came out of necessity. Yeah. So yeah, I've always been a music inclined. Here in Hawaii, we all play instruments. We all play music. We all think we're the best singers in the world, and because it's such a competitive environment here in Hawaii, that when you're a young person, you learn music, and you learn how to carry a tune. You learn how to do things, and so we had a few we had a few songs we were looking to have put down on that soundtrack, and we weren't able to get the licensing to it. So it was a last minute, and I was like, well, I know the vibe we're looking for, and I know how to, run a melody. So we're looking for this type of feel and structure. So, I started writing things out, and then, with the help of, all the tools that we have online now to help me with the choreographing, with the beats and stuff, I was able to put out, 3, I think pretty solid tracks for it. And yeah, it was something I didn't really want to do. It was in the witching hour. I was doing it like, in the final days, they were waiting to get this thing completely done, and we didn't have a soundtrack or anything. And so I'd worked for about a week and a half, punching out those three songs.
Okay, we're going to move on to fun questions. Your favorite film?
My favorite film of all time would have to be Man on Fire with Denzel Washington.
Ooh, nice choice. Okay, this may cover the
Uh,
same thing. Your favorite
That's
crime movie? It doesn't have to be Man on Fire, even though it is a crime movie.
yeah, yeah. That's my favorite movie. My favorite crime movie. I mean, if I was to look at how things I would probably have to say the Departed. The Departed is by far, I think, one of the best crime movies ever made. It's
And
kind of
one
like similar
film,
to Who's Chico. Dies in the end.
one film you will see later this year that you haven't. One film you'll see later this year that you haven't.
Um, you know what? Yeah, probably. I would probably be looking at seeing. It hasn't come out yet, but one I'm excited to see about is probably The Wrecking Crew. I'm pretty excited to see how that turns out. That's another Jason Momoa feature, I believe, but I'm pretty
Uh,
excited about that one.
Tell everybody where they can find your great work.
So, I mean, if you want to review and see what we have going on for Who's Chico, we have our website, and so you can, venture off to the website on Who's Chico .com and or chicofilm.com, and you can see the synopsis of the film and the teasers. We're currently running the gamuts through the film festivals. We've had some success. We've won one so far, one out of Florida. And So right now, the only place to see us, because we're in the middle of our film festival run, is if we do get accepted into these certain film festivals. And I think we have another 50 festivals to hear back from. We hit it hard. We
Wow.
did a big budget. Yeah, we,
Whew.
we applied to just about every single film festival there is. Because when we filmed this, we weren't aware that there was this big criminal push of entertainment coming out of Hawaii. We were like a year and a half before the rumors of Dwayne Johnson doing his big criminal saga out of here. We wrapped about 6 months before the TV series Makaha was greenlit, which will be starts out here filming next year, and it's about a crime family. Before actually, we just talked about Wrecking Crew, another crime family style film that's coming out of Hawaii. So we were ahead of this new crime family thing that's just being circulated throughout here. And there's two other films that are in early development right now that's based out of Hawaii, and the crime syndicate out of here, because a lot of people don't know about the company. And it's if you don't know about the company out of Hawaii, do some research and you'll see that, as far as that side of the world, I guess here in Hawaii we do it just as good as they do in New York and Boston.
That's good to hear. Thank you for your time and have a great evening.
Thank you, my brother.